What's still nuts to me is how much they managed to cram on the first disc. Dude, I mean, a lot of what made Final Fantasy VII 3 discs was the cutscenes. And this game didn't have that many pre-rendered cutscenes. It had a couple. But it's still pretty insane how long that first disc was, not to mention the world map and all the gears and the different game modes too, like the fighting game and everything. It's crazy. Once arriving at the central control room, we met up with Satan, who helped us activate the mass driver. We succeeded in launching the capsule containing the nanomachines, which would release the seal limiter. Remember back when there was voice acting for like 10 minutes? The nanomachines that were scattered into the upper atmosphere began to multiply and spread throughout the whole of the world. The nanomachines glittered in the sunlight, flowing like a large river in the sky. That glitter would remove the bonds restraining everyone. It was to be our light of hope for regaining back our true freedom. There's something so odd about the characters just sitting in a chair explaining the story to us. Like, the fact that they're in a chair, like, cracks me up. I feel like I'm watching some, like, YouTube summary of the game or something. The YouTuber's just sitting in the chair talking to us about the game. Solaris' mobile surface supremacy weapon invaded the area with great force. Shavant and Nassan's standard gear battalions were no match against it. It was only a matter of time before the Solaris mobile weapon arrived in Nassan. After we pushed back the Solarian gear units, we headed for Nortune, to the Kislev capital's administrative district. Could they have done this in a better way so I could read the text? Like, it's kind of hard to read the text. We went there to obtain our one and only means of standing up against the mobile weapon. Oh man, they just give you random save points throughout? Oh god. Is there even like a point to like equipment anymore? This is wild, man. I didn't expect... I mean... Continue the game? No, I want to wait. I expected it to be bad, but... this is pretty bad. The Kislev capital's Nortune's central administrative district itself was a secret battleship constructed by Bart's ancestor, Roni Fatima, after the Great War with Solaris many hundreds of years ago. The existence of the secret battleship remained hidden. Later, the ship was turned into a section of the Kislev Imperial capital during the founding of the Empire. This feels like the beginning of the game, like they're explaining everything going on to us. Uncovering this truth from some ancient records, Bart activated the secret battleship in order to fight against the Solarian mobile surface supremacy weapon. The sand cruiser Yggdrasil is actually the center of command and also the main secret weapon of the craft. Awakening from 500 years of dormancy, its true form appeared before us. Commanded by its new master, the secret battleship stood before the mobile weapon with all of us inside of it. Dude, I'm getting sad, man. The Yggdrasil was actually the center of command for the main secret weapon? That's like, that would have been amazing to see. Like, could you imagine that moment when Bart realizes that the Yggdrasil's like part of the secret weapon? That would have been such an amazing moment. I feel like everything that's happened on the Yggdrasil is all built up to that moment, and now we just... Oh yeah, by the way. I feel robbed. This would have been such a cool moment. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Oh my god. The Yggdrasil is a giant mech. Super dimensional gear Yggdrasil the fourth. Dude, what? What? What was that little hiya? All right, transformation complete. Come on, monster, let's go. What the? This feels like I'm playing one of those old PS2 licensed games where like some like PS2 licensed Godzilla game where like basically they just copy off the movie, so they just like tell you what's going on in the movie and then randomly insert you into scenes in the movie. That's what this feels like. It's just like suddenly we're fighting the big bad weapon with our big bad weapon. Yo, it's Darude Sandstorm featuring Hurricane. Why is he so fast? He gets like 900 turns. Or are we just really slow because we're like the size of an entire city? Give him. Wait, that takes 9,000 fuel? It takes 9,000 fuel. I gotta do it. Dude just fired the Yggdrasil as a cannon. The thing we've been using to traverse the map the entire game, he just shot it like a cannon. Like a gun. Like a Halo gun. Just blasted him. How did Bart go up a level? I feel like Bart wasn't even part of that. The Solaris mobile weapon was destroyed, which brought a sigh of relief to the continent of Ignis. Peace was signed, and after some 500 years of division, the land of Ignis was once again became united. Excitement spread throughout Ave, Nisan, Kislev, Shavat. The sky shimmered as if to celebrate. By the hands of Eli, Satan, Tora, and Emeralda, the nanomachines had been dispersed into the atmosphere. That was when disaster struck. Our songs of victory were replaced by the sounds of total pandemonium. In the beginning, we had no idea what had transpired. We witnessed inexplicable phenomena. People from all parts of the globe began to mutate into abnormal forms. It seemed to be triggered when the nanomachines removed the limiter seal that was placed on humankind by Krelian in the past. The human form with its innate abilities released. That's when I remembered what Hammer had said back in Solaris. His words were, "What becomes of the normal humans?" So they are naturally germinating because the resurrection of God is near. Those will become the body of our servant. I never knew so many would exist even without using the key. But some of them still have not yet begun to germinate. Are they not destined to be the flesh of God? Or perhaps those are the enemies of God. Let us reactivate the strategic points of the Soylent. At any rate, they are just incompetent mutants. They are useless now in their half-finished form. God's apostles, there cannot be any harm in having too many of them. Somehow I knew that was going to be Miang. The chains that restrained humankind have been removed because of you. But that doesn't mean there is anything wrong with our plan. Everything is still under control. In the event of the explosion in the capital of Solaris earlier, I had set up a nanomachine virus to diffuse into the atmosphere. I knew they were eventually going to break the seal, but the timing was a little close for comfort. How would you know? Like, how would you know? We landed, we miraculously landed in Toro's lab. And then, like, how would you know? If you knew that he was there and had all the answers, you would have killed him years ago, would you have not? Like, if you knew that one of the sages was in a forest somewhere and he had all of the tools necessary to ruin what you've set up, wouldn't you have found him by now and killed him? I don't understand. The current mutations of the humans are an initial response to the virus. Once the virus respread over the world germinates inside of the humans, they are no longer the same. They change into a controllable form. We need humans that do not depend on the key's invocation in order to awaken. In other words, a being to take the place of the original body of God. I don't understand. Didn't the other guys just say that they're mutating because they're the flesh of God? And now we're saying it's because of a virus that Krelian released right before we released our virus? Like, are the other guys just yapping? I don't know. It's like a Trojan horse released at the time of the assimilation with God. A literal virus, but isn't it different from what they intended? Of course, We can't let them have it their way. The Ark of God is mine. Either way is fine by me. I will just side with whichever is the more certain one anyway. Dude, I love Vieng. She literally the whole game has just been like this triple, quadruple agent who's like, who tells the people that she's working with, like, I will double cross you as soon as you're losing. Just so you know. And everyone just goes with it. The Soylent System, a group of facilities formerly created by Solaris. Yeah, she just totally played Ramses, who was too stupid to realize it. These facilities existed all over the Earth. It is said that originally these were used for biological experiments and brainwashing. Hey, at least this is better than us staring at a JPEG. The people who mutated into what were called wells, or the true forms of humans, gathered at these facilities. I don't understand. Why are these the true forms of humans? I feel like this was explained earlier, but I didn't understand. I remember them explaining what wells are. But why are they now saying that they're the true form of humans? The only thing I can think of is like, because they said that God basically, like, not God like in the traditional sense, but like whatever this higher power is that made the planet, left the planet like to die. So is the implication like without Solaris intervening and like creating perfect humans, everyone would have just turned into wells and died? Okay. Well, it's an interesting theory then. If I haven't been told yet, then that's an interesting theory. Some of the humans turned wells were attacking healthy humans and devouring their flesh and blood. You know, the usual. Typical vampire behavior. That is because healthy human flesh and blood eased the pain of their sudden molecular changes and let them live longer. Their lives were so short. Well, that explains what the wells were saying earlier. Soon after, severely mutated beings started to seek the flesh and blood of the less mutated beings. The Soylent System divides and merges those mutated bodies on a molecular level. A set of facilities that recreate a more perfect single life form to be used as a weapon. This was the truth behind the Gazelle Ministries' M plan. That's creepy. Go to those facilities and you will be freed from the unbearable agony. So people gathered, seeking a fulfillment of this promise. There is salvation there. The news spread, although no one actually uttered it. Their mutated blood probably told such people to gather there. We went there to destroy the Soylent system. There, humans fought amongst themselves greedily for limited pardons to live. It was an ugly battle to keep on living, or so it may have seemed to the casual passerby. But to me, they were desperately trying to live. It was each person's natural human form. I don't even know who's talking here. They never made it clear who's talking. So I don't even know who me is. There were the haves and the have-nots. And among them were some of my former friends from Solaris. Sounds like it's Satan. They wanted our flesh and blood. They told us the haves should share with the have-nots. They asked if a have, such as myself, could understand their pain. Okay, I guess it's Ellie. I couldn't answer. No matter what I said, it would have sounded like a conceited have speaking. Even so, I wanted to relieve their anguish, and I decided to do so. Just like the person in the memory of my dreams, in the distant past. Anyways, robots. Then suddenly the system went out of control. The subtle mass of monstrous organisms still in the process of amalgamation broke through the barrier of the life support facilities and stood before us. No longer of human form, that which was once human began eating the people gathered there seeking relief. We had to fight it in order to save the people and in order to save him. The eyes of that which was once human looked at me, pleading for death to take away the agony. Dude, what? This is so bizarre. Like, you know what blows my mind is, like, the last time we had actual control to, like, level up, buy equipment, like, customize our party in any way was right before the scene where Ellie started yelling at Satan and then everything went crazy. That was the last time we were not on rails. Which, by the way, I need to say it again. That scene was incredible. Like, I was looking back on it when I was editing. And, like, man, that scene, that jump scare, when, like, suddenly the lights went out and Satan disappeared, like, man, that is, like, probably my favorite moment. That was so amazing. I'm going to remember that for a long time. I'm going to remember that moment for a long time. When they were just, when Ellie was just like, no, Satan, tell me who you really are. And he's like, I can't. And she's like, no, they're going to tell me right now. And then suddenly it was just like, bam, lights are out. Faye's like, what happened? Like, oh man, that was so good. That was so good. But yeah, that was literally the last time we had any control over anything. Like, since then, we've been completely on rails. I think we had, no, that's a bit of a lie, because we had to go down some corridors, and then it was like that room with Hammer and the save points where we could like shop and save. So like that spot there you could have bought, and yeah, the little escape sequence there. So I guess technically the last time we weren't on rails was the Hammer scene. Once the Hammer scene started, I think we were completely on rails. And like, we have not seen the world map, we've not seen like I almost feel like, what's the point of, like, opening my menu? Like, I feel like all these fights are probably just going to be planned out. If any of these fights are, like, difficult, then I'm screwed, because I can't do much. Like, you know? I got what I got. That's it. I can't... And to be fair, I do have a lot of stuff. But I kind of doubt that any of these fights are going to be necessarily, like, crazy hard or, like, you know, really test us in certain ways, because how could they expect us to be able to deal with it, you know, if they made it really hard? By the way, I still have Deathblower 3, which I haven't actually gotten to check out yet. I got the Deathblower 3, and I've had no ability to, like, actually walk around in my mech since I got it. We got it during the Solaris part, and I haven't had time in my mech to run around since then. I mean, I got Satan, and I got Id. How can I lose? Did I get a chance to save? No. Oh, I'm not even in my mech. Oh, we'd be in our mech. I had to fight that thing without a mech? Still want to learn my X combo with Faye. Oh, you're dead. Not dead. You got a code red, he is not dead. Good job. I just love Satan doing his thing. I mean, I'm genuinely curious if they kind of just made everything easier from here on out. Well, I mean, we're gonna see, but if everything is, like, super easy from here on out, I would totally understand it, because how can you expect the player to, like, be able to deal with, like, a difficult battle when they can't, when they're on rails, you know? Smack. The thing is, like, I'm still enjoying this, but I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't, like, sad. Like, it's genuinely saddening to, like, see what they wanted to create and knowing that they couldn't. You know? Alright. That was cool. Yeah, like, you know, that's why I kind of said, like, I'm glad we at least get to see everything. What the? But at the same time, if I, you know, and I know that, like, I know game reviews are like tech debut, but if I'm a game reviewer, like if I'm working for IGN back when this game came out, I can't give it a 10 out of 10. Like, I can't. No, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. You can't give the game a 10 out of 10 when halfway through it just becomes a slideshow. Like, you can't. I mean, just genuinely you can't. If you take any serious, you know, if you take your game reviewing seriously at all, like, you can't. So, but if the game had ended at disc 1 on a cliffhanger, and a part 2 was at least planned and written out already, then I could give the game a 10 out of 10 if I thought it deserved it, you know? That's crazy. And I think we know where that 0.5 went, right? I would have guessed it would have given it a 9, honestly. If not less. That's crazy that they gave it a 9.5. I have a huge pile of PlayStation magazine. Dude, I don't want to use all my Zeta souls. I don't know if I'll be able to buy more. In this PlayStation magazine. Bro, what? Can you stop? I gotta hold my tongue until I actually finish the game, because I don't know how long it goes, but I can only imagine if all of this stuff had actually been played out in their entirety, this might have been like a 200-hour game. What is this attack? Why does it just auto-kill? Like, what if you don't have revival items at this point? Do you just give up? I'm wondering if, like... Because my wind attack healed him. Maybe it's like wind element. Maybe I can protect against wind element or something. Oh, he just punches me for max damage. Like, whatever my health is, it does that much damage. I don't understand. Dang, damage. See, he's like healing from this too, isn't he? So like, what the heck? He's almost dead at least. This is the dumbest fight ever. Not a fan of this fight. Faye's dead, don't worry about it. And he missed all that XP, that's great. Satan, please lend me your sword.
I'm sorry. I guess I couldn't help you after all. All I can do for you now is ease your wounds. I'm so sorry.
Ellie, you...
Weird. Weird that was a cutscene. Please listen to me. Stop fighting among yourselves. We are all humans. This facility was built by the Solaris Ministry. It was created to implement their no-waste plan. Such facilities were to convert mutated humans into weapons that serve as tools for their ambitions. I like how she's talking and they're all just like, brains. Just one part of their overall plan of racial purification. Of course, once you enter their umbrella of protection, this is Sophia now, you can avoid absolute death. But is that human life? Even if you are the only one left, if you're devoid of a heart, what does it all mean? All of you want to be loved, needed by someone, so we look to others. By ourselves, we are lonely, so we try to draw close together to live. That's what it means to be human. That's how people live. A single hand cannot clap. Wow, bars. To relive your pain, I'll give however much of my flesh you need. Therefore, don't try away your dignity as humans. Don't let go of your human heart. Ellie, are you okay? What are you doing? You think I am doing something foolish? No. I only did what I could. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. A well-to-do have. Maybe it's only pity for the have-nots. But if I can know the joy of giving out a little of the life within me, then maybe someday it may just be possible that one human can truly give love to another. People can do it. I truly believe they can. That's why. I feel like everything that Ellie is doing, like, means so much more because of, like, the beginning of the game and how we see her at the start. If she was just always nice and always, like, you know, kind of like an Aerith figure, I feel like it wouldn't hit as hard, but all these scenes are, like, so great because when we first met her, she was like, I'm just doing my job. Like, I'm totally sold on the concept that Faye taught Ellie, like, the meaning of human life. Because before, she was just like, this is my job, and it sucks, but, like, who cares about it? Like, she was very nihilistic. And, like, Faye going out of his way to protect her, even when she was the bad guy, the concept is sold to me very well that Ellie would do this now. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like, oh, we're the good guys, so we're doing the good guy thing. Like, it actually makes sense that she would be this way because of what Faye did for her in the past. After that, we went from place to place, destroying all the Soylent System facilities located on the surface of the Earth and freed the people held at each of the locations. All the people that had been mutated were taken in by Nassan, where they received treatment. This straight up feels like the epilogue. It's so bizarre. Because before, everything was so, like, we had to do every single moment, you know? Like, there was no skipping around. It was just like, if we're walking to Nassan, we gotta walk to Nassan. If we're broken down in Ave, then we gotta run around Ave, figuring out what to do. And now it's just like, oh, we went around the world and destroyed every Soylent System. It's like, what? What? Like, it's such a change of pace. Those who had mutated only mildly were treated with Tora's nanomachines, which reconstructed and revived them. They were able to return back to their normal bodies. How long of a time skip is this? How many? He had like two machines. He had 2 capsules of nanomachines. You're telling me we revived every person on the planet that was half monster? Unfortunately, there were some that had such accelerated symptoms that their treatment was not as promising. Trying to bring them back to a form that resembled a human was the best that could be done. However, mysteriously, they no longer fought each other for survival as they did when they were held by the Soylent System. Of course, their recovery from the physical pain of the mutation may have played a factor, but it wasn't only that. The majority of the people received by Nassan were those that had been admonished by Ellie and had regained their humanity. Between her work in destroying the Soylent System facilities, Ellie was also around to nurse the people in Nassan. She aided the bodies of the mutated and lent an ear to those who had no other place to go for help. Faye looked so bored sitting in that chair. She was the very image of the woman who created Nassan, Mother Sophia. It became rumored that Ellie was a reincarnation or a second advent of Sophia. Go to Nasan and you will receive salvation. The news seemed to spread further about the people came from all over to be saved, both physically and spiritually. Free from the supervision of Solaris, the surface dwellers began to unite in one place. This is such a shame, because the whole Ellie thing has been built up since the very beginning of the game, and now we're just getting it through text. Similar to the Bart thing. Also, what are you guys doing? It's been months. I thought you said God was coming, like, tomorrow. We've saved everyone on the whole planet in the time you've taken to sit there. Like, what is going on? The germinating of those destined to be the body of the servant of God. As before, the humans are gathering in Nasan. At this rate, not the fear. This might actually be helpful for us. The time is near. No, it's not. Should we not prepare for those who are to become the fleshly body of God and those who will awaken God? The time has come to activate the geisha key. What? Cain? What more do you intend to do? I cannot allow you to use the key. Cain, what are you doing? Without the resurrection of God, our purpose cannot be fulfilled. Or are you planning on perishing with God, Cain, without fulfilling our purpose? Your purpose, you were fated to it from your birth. Why haven't you realized that it does not arise from your own free will? I've heard enough. Yes, this is our own volition. If you still insist on opposing us... What? Have you forgotten? You are my subordinates. I can destroy you if I so desire. We have already done our part. It's time to pass the helm to the next generation. The people will not perish. Well, just destroy them. Why? What point do they have to be around? Although the initial impact of being released from the limiter seal caused some momentary chaos, everything slowly began to settle down. We then began to search for the anima relics, the catalyst to transform gears into omni-gears. For what reason? Why are we looking for these? But who's our enemy? I'm so confused by, like, the time skip here. If it's been, like, weeks, it was 3 weeks that they were stuck in the pods, right? So it's been 3 weeks that we've been stuck in the pods. Then it's been months that we've been going around destroying Soylent systems and saving people and putting them all through the nanomachine recovery. What is Krellian doing? What is Ramsus doing? What is Miang doing? What are the aliens doing? What? Apparently nothing. But then we're like, oh, we gotta go get the Omni-Gears. Why? Who's that? Apparently they all gave up. Like, what? What are we doing? Why? For what reason? In the past, 10 relics had been recovered. It is said that about half of those are in the hands of the Ministry. According to Zephyr, there should be several more relics hidden in the land. We knew then that Solaris would most certainly be searching for them. There was no way we could allow Solaris to have them. So is that, they think that they're out trying to find the rest of them, and we're just going to try to beat them to it? They don't even have a place to go anymore. We destroyed Solaris. We visited the place where, using archaic records, Zephyr and her people had been able to get clues on the whereabouts of the relics. Following the information we obtained from there, we headed towards the ruins of what seemed to be an ancient civilization. Why am I changing party members? Can I save? What the? Where are we? Can I get in my gears? Oh my god, look at my gear though. Dude, I am massive. Holy. Whoa, I'm not the enemy. My family's been merchants for generations. We got our own ways to fight, and this is my battle. This is like... the way that it just places you in a spot with, like, here's a save point, and here's a party point, and here's a shop. Like, it's so, like... It just doesn't even feel like a game anymore. It feels like a mod or something. It feels like a challenge mode or something. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it feels extremely artificial. It feels like I beat the game and now I'm doing like a boss rush. You know? We haven't even bought parts for Gears in like 15 hours. When's the last time we bought stuff for Gears? And the game just auto gave me good stuff anyways. Because everyone's gears turned into Omni gears, they're like auto juiced. There's probably some stuff to buy for you though. Oh yeah. Hope I have enough money, because I ain't got no way to get money. Luckily, I'm, like, rich. I don't know where I got all this money from. Remember these gears? We haven't seen them in years. When's the last time we saw them? Look at Fenrir. We haven't even seen Fenrir in action yet. Again, he was just auto upgraded, so like, he's already got the best stuff. He's already got the best stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna buy like 1,000,000 of these, because I'm afraid I'm gonna run out of them at some random point during all this dialogue. What is the money in this game? It's so weird. The mech stuff is so expensive that like the items don't even have like I can just buy whatever I want. The money is so... The money's so inflated at this point that I can just buy whatever I want. Tarugo, thank you for the 2 gifted subs, man. And thank you, Bryce, again, man. Thanks so much, dude. Wonder Whip. Wow, 2 extra damage on Bart. Wait, you've had this legendary sword since, like, before the game began, and I can just buy him a better one now? But it's only 2 damage more. Still doing it. Godson ammo. That just sounds cool. Give me some of that. Whoa! That's crazy. Thanks for your patron. You're welcome. Where's the music? Why is it so quiet? Oh, Black Leather doesn't have as good of ETH defense as Dark Armor, though. I kind of want to keep the Dark Armor. than the Crimson Vest, though. Probably not as good as the Angelic Robe. This thing is nuts. Yeah, that Angelic Robe is like insane. I don't remember where I got it, but it's just crazy. They ran out of music, officially. It's over.